Okay. Will that affect the... It's very loud now. Yeah. Okay. It's the traduction. Okay, right. Should I begin the introduction to the day? We have a talk this morning on receiving questions from people taking part in an online 3-day sessions hosted by the New Hamlet Sisters and others. And enjoying sessions of Dharma sharing, total relaxation, sitting meditation, and guidance, eating together. So these questions come from these people and will form something of the basis of sharing this morning. I'd like to invite the brothers here that we could offer a song to ourselves and I'm free. En français. Quand j'inspire, quand j'expire, quand j'inspire, quand j'expire, je me sens comme une fleur, aussi fraîche que la rosée. Je suis solide comme une montagne, je suis ferme comme la terre, je suis libre. Quand j'inspire, quand j'expire, quand j'inspire, quand j'expire, je suis l'eau reflectant ce qui est vrai, ce qui est beau. Et je sens qu'il y a de l'espace tout au fond de moi. Liberté, liberté, liberté. Merci. So this morning, let us enjoy one sound of the bell. Brother Tien Chi on the bell. In this life, we are aware there is suffering. In us and around us. We feel it, we recognize it, we see it. And we want to avoid that suffering, we want to run away from it. ignore it, but sometimes we cannot. And sometimes it turns out to be good, to a good decision and a courageous decision to turn and face and be with the suffering. And we get inspired not to run away, but to go to it. And so one of the questions that came, I mentioned 20 questions by email. I cannot answer them all, but some of them will hopefully help form this talk. And I'm very grateful for the questions. They're very rich and helpful for all of us. But the question that came was this, that was in the midst of suffering, how can we practice joy? And is there not a conflict? How do we avoid this sort of feeling that that's not maybe, it doesn't fit, you know? How can you practice joy when you see so much suffering? And it turns out the truth is somehow that our joy and our suffering are not so disconnected. We need joy, true joy, not a kind of excited joy, but we need a kind of joy that comes from the practice, a stability that comes from the practice. From the song, we hear exactly this sense of coming back to ourselves. We cultivate our stability and our freshness. And of course that brings joy. But that is for what? That is to be able to enjoy that joy and enjoy the mountains, enjoy the freshness, enjoy the wonders of life, but also to be able to look deeply and see what is there. And with the calmness of the lake, we see things more clearly, reflecting. With the calm and the stability, we get to see clearly what is there. When we are agitated and maybe very upset by the suffering, we look to see what is going on, and we get a distorted view. When we try to look through the lens of anger or anxiety, we see something and we make a lot of perceptions based on what we see, and then we want to take action, and we have a lot of energy maybe with the anger and the fear, and it drives us, but based on a distorted view, like the water that is not calm. So the joy that comes from the practice is also this calm and ability to be stable and to be free from the anger, free from the anxiety, so that we can come down deeply and see what is truly going on and be there for it with our mindfulness, to embrace our compassion, our loving smile, our non-judgmental, non-dualistic mind that says it's okay for you to be there. My dear anger, I know you are there, and I'm here too. Who is here with the anger? Is the anger on its own? And that who is, we want it to be that stability, that joy, that calm, that sense of, I've got this, I'm here. So cultivating joy in our practice is essential when we understand what we mean by that. that stability, that calm. And in fact, the true suffering, that which we really need to take care of, will have know its time to manifest in us when we feel safety, when there is this stability. The suffering says, "Oh, maybe now I can be safe to come and ask for help." So that can also happen, It's not just, because so ironically, when we practice joy, practice and this stability, it actually provides the conditions for the suffering to say, "Okay, can you now take care of me?" And that is why sometimes it feels like a paradox, when we say the practice brings us joy, but it also allows for the suffering to be felt. We become more sensitive to it, but in a way where it's not just leading us into a spiral of more suffering. So there are many questions, as I mentioned, and roughly they were divided for me by the sisters into taking care of strong emotions, into the realm of work, we could say livelihood, and also relationships. There was also questions about trauma, addiction, right action in the world where there is injustice, social injustice, and greed and corruption. So there's a lot in the questions, and as I say, I will see what happens as I go through. But the basic practice, that which the retreatants or the people participating in the online retreat have been doing, are very relevant as the basis for taking care of the suffering and the particular situation that connects with these questions. So strong emotions. One very general one, how to be there for our fear, anger, loneliness, and despair. And then one more specific about anxiety. So, so in a sense, what I've shared already is the basis for being able to be there for our strong emotions, right? And if we can practice in times where we don't have a strong emotion, we are building a resource for ourselves when that strong emotion comes. If we wait for the strong emotion to practice, wow, we're making a kind of difficult time for ourselves. It's like, like a Panyo and me once went on a canoe trip, right? Do you remember? And if you don't practice in how to do the technique when it's nice and calm in the lake, and then suddenly it's kind of white water. We didn't have anything too drastic, but you experience it's difficult to not be very frightened as you go down, and to stay upright. So practicing when things are calm is good, right? Putting ourselves in an environment where we can feel supported to practice, and it's peaceful outside, and so we can benefit from that condition and make steps of peace in our walking meditation. Breathe mindfully, enjoying the breath, And maybe if there is some strong issue that we know we need to take care of, we ask that issue, that suffering, that voice in us to say, give me some time. I need to cultivate my stability and I will be taking care of you. Yeah. So it's like saying, give me some time to be ready. And that suffering, if it trusts you and you honor your promise to come back, it will say, okay, yeah, because that suffering is part of you and knows, it feels your sincerity. So I'll come back. I'm going to come back to you. I won't forget you, and you must not. You must go back. But first, you cultivate your stability in the practice. Then, when there is that practice, that understanding of what the practice is, the ability to stay with the breath, to be in the body, stable in our posture. Sitting posture is by design, this kind of lotus position or half lotus, or the comfortable, stable, upright position that we can find is by design a kind of a refuge for us. It allows us to say, yes, I've got my body here stable, and it's I can come back to my body, feel it, and find myself in my body. I can be aware of my breath coming in and out. Breath is part of my body. And I notice the quality of my breath. Is it calm? Is it agitated? It reflects also my mind, the quality of my breath. And we don't judge that, we just know, it's like that. My breath is like that. We're just aware. So this mere recognition, just aware, this is how my breath is. But allowing the breath to come in deeply, allowing the breath to be slow as we breathe out, and allowing the body to relax. This is sitting meditation practice. And when we've got some sense of that practice, it's quite possible for us, even as a beginner in the practice, to be able to be not run away from the suffering, the strong emotion, but to say, hello, strong emotion, yes, I'm here, and coming back to the breath. So whether it be anxiety, or anger or loneliness, we feel it in the body as well. It's not just a separation of body and mind. It's not just a mental thing. We can say, what does this feel like in the body? Where is it in the body? And we breathe with and smile to it in the body, the feeling, the emotion. We're not trying to solve it. We're not trying to argue with it or follow the story it wants to tell us. Rather, just being with it in the present. Being able to stay present with what is a very powerful practice. Mere recognition. Just being able to stay and just witness, this is happening now. And it helps to name it, this is and it changes. So every now and then, it seems, so you notice what is happening. And if the thoughts are coming up, the thoughts, the story about the emotion, say, oh, my story is coming up. I'm having this thought about it. Oh, the anxiety about this is happening. And you come back to being present. And just knowing staying present is the practice. And that's all you need to do. And how to be present can be so reinforced and helpful to come back to the body, come back to the breath. That is really kind of a beautiful, strong way to be present for what is in the mind. So as the emotions come, you stay present. That's all. Just witnessing it, like watching things, watching the show. You don't hang on to it, you don't try to understand it exactly, just staying present. And if you can do that through the day, you will get space. You will get space with the problem, with the situation. And you didn't think about it. It wasn't that you intellectually worked it out. You just stayed present. And you created space, more space to be able to relate, more stability to be able to relate to what is. Yeah. As soon as you start thinking about the thing, there it is, and the emotion can come again. But maybe at that time you'll have more of a refuge to be, and more space to be able to be with it, to relate with it. There is more mindfulness, energy to embrace what is there. So we cultivate mindfulness energy and inner space to be able to relate and provide space for what is there. When the strong emotion comes, sometimes it's all we can do to just come back to the breath and weather the storm. And just to know that is what our job is. If you stay with the story, as the strong emotion is there, we teach this to the children, right? You know where I'm going, the tree. If you're in the top branches, thinking about it, following the story, you're going to be swished around this way and that way. And you could lose your balance. If you come down to the trunk of the tree, the belly, and you breathe there, and you find yourself in the body. Yeah. Sometimes I don't always just focus on the belly. I feel my whole body, including my head and everything. So it's not about being in the head physically. When we say don't be in your head, we mean don't be in the mental side of things. But wherever you find, it's really good to feel like, oh, my body is here, and I'm really allowing my body to hold this as well. Taking refuge in the body, taking refuge in the breath. And then the storm of the emotion, it's impermanent, it will come and it will go. But you also know that it will change, and your job is to stay stable in the boat of your, So that is the practice that we offer, that is found to be a way through the storm. Sometimes the image is given of holding onto the captain of the ship, holding, the waves are coming, the wind is lashing, and you're having to hold steady the course to kind of meet the waves on head on. If the boat goes sideways, the waves will capsize the boat. You kind of have to meet it head on. But that is also to say that you kind of stay centered. You're not running away from your suffering. You're meeting it head on, but also you're not getting swished this way and that way by the thoughts. It allows you to go through. Yes, you go up and down. Yes, you experience the kind of strong sensations, but you are able to go through. That is, once that experience is made, that you can do that. I remember when I began to practice, and I kind of wasn't able to stay all the way through the storm. I sort of lost it. I can't remember, but I remember just because I had at least tried and touched the feeling of being able to stay with it a little bit, it gave me some faith in the practice. I can do this. And the next time I was able to go further and stay, when the strong emotion came, I was able to not be completely floored by it. Because even if you are completely floored, it will pass. You do survive. But it's so much more productive and kind of more pleasant and more life-giving to be able to go through. Just being able to be with our emotion a little bit in this way gives us faith. We can do this. And it takes away what is called the second arrow. Because often what is really hard about our emotions is we're frightened of our emotions. Yeah. So if we learn how to be with our emotions and we don't have to be frightened of them. Yes, they're unpleasant, and yes, we do tend to find ways to avoid, even when we're practitioners. But when we know, okay, this needs taking care of, and I can do this, I've had that experience, that faith is also our anchor to keep us to come back to the practice, to not be seduced by the story, or maybe the solution is in thinking about it and going this way, or I'm used to, or maybe I should just take these, I don't know, these medications that whatever it is that you normally do to avoid, and not going into the realm of talking about medications and things. I just mean the practice is a way to help us, and if we touch the experience of that, we can go through. That we can meet our emotion with our mindfulness. It gives us faith, and right in the moment of the breathing, because one of the questions was, but how do I stay with it? Because I keep losing the breath. So the practice is to recognize you've lost your way with it, and keep coming back, and keep making that choice to come back to the body, come back to the breathing, come back to being present with what is, touching that stability and touching that love to say, yes, I'm here, I can be here with this. And gradually, little by little, you will make the experience that it can work for you. You can go through. Yes, you may need help, and yes, sometimes you choose other ways, but when we get the faith in the practice, that is a beautiful thing. So that is a little bit kind of general about taking care of strong emotions. And then I will answer some specific questions. One sound of the bell. So a question here, I have a lot of anxiety related to sickness and death. I feel anxious whenever I am exposed to potential danger, including COVID, chemicals, unclean food. I would try my best to minimize the risks, and to some extent that is not good for my mental health or relationship with others. However, it is difficult for me to let go of my health and my life. So the question of anxiety is about anxiety, and particularly about sickness and death, and trying to avoid dangers. Yeah, living is it's a dangerous business. It's difficult to avoid risk. I mean, this is the truth of suffering. Suffering exists, and the Buddha in his time offered a meditation for the monks that is relevant to all of us, which is the truth that we all suffer, we all get sick, we all get old, hopefully we get old, and we all for sure will die at some point. It's unavoidable, inevitable. And how, the question is only how can we relate to that truth? Yeah, that we do get sick. It is our nature to get sick, and we cannot avoid every risk. We can manage risks, and then something we didn't even think of happens. That can happen, right? So, however well we manage the risks, and this is not. We should be responsible, and we should try to manage risks. But what is, we could say, some irony in our situation is when we get so anxious about the risks, the anxiety itself is a risk to us. The anxiety causes sickness. So we should also be concerned about the potential danger of our anxiety, not to get anxious about our anxiety. That would be to double our anxiety, but to say, oh, yeah, this is also, it's not so helpful, and I need to take care of this. We don't want to lose our mental health by being so focused on potential dangers, and we don't want to lose our relationships. The person asking the question is also concerned about their relationships with others. And if we lose our relationships because we're taking care of these risks, we've lost a lot. And yeah. Before COVID, loneliness was reported as the biggest killer in the UK, where I come from. I mean, they could medically determine this, that loneliness kills. I think in COVID times it's become worse because of the isolation. I had a friend in a care home, and at the time of when nobody was allowed, the family was not allowed to visit after 3 weeks, that is when he passed away. I don't know if, what is exactly the cause and conditions, but could be. So we don't want to completely isolate ourselves for fear of something, even COVID. Yeah. We need to find a way to be together. Unclean food, that, I have to say, that kind of reminds me a little bit of my mother. I spent some months with her, and she doesn't like to waste any food. So she will not be interested in the use by date. Yeah. And sometimes I try to throw things out, and she will reclaim them because I'm worried about her, health in these ways. But what I really appreciate about my mother in this regard is she's not frightened. And yeah, it also comes from this good motivation not to want to waste, and a kind of no messing mentality, it's okay. And there's the lack of anxiety is, I think, what keeps her strong, that she's not overly worried about it. Sometimes it can go to the other extreme, and I do sometimes get concerned, but we can become too obsessed with these things, and we need to recognize, okay, maybe the bigger risk is my way of being overly obsessed and worried about this, and take care of that. So yes, we're responsible, and we do things to protect, but then at a certain point we also say, it's okay, I need to not get overly anxious, and I need to live my life. My mother is 85. She goes to the supermarket on her own. She could get the shopping delivered to protect her from potentially getting, contact with people. But I know she goes because she wants the exercise, and she wants the feeling of still being in community. And this is more important to her. It's an instinctual thing, That's an example for me. She's an example for me. I could try as a son, to try and protect everything she does and make sure that she never has to connect with anybody or something. That is sometimes the advice. But it's dangerous on the other side, right? So this is to talk about that. So taking care of our anxiety and not going to extremes is my response to this question. Meditating on the fact that we are of the nature to get sick. We cannot avoid it one way or the other. It will get us. So how we relate to that sickness is the key. Accepting, I'm of the nature, and maybe our sickness will bring us insight, will bring us new wisdom about ourselves. Maybe it will help us find out a truth, that we will value a lot. So who knows? You don't have to be so sure that sickness is always the worst thing. Even people coming to the place of death also can experience a kind of liberation at that point, because things become so clear, like what is important, what is truly important. If you have time to take care of what is really important, and then you may not have the regrets. I think the biggest fear, of course we're frightened of pain, the way we may get sick, the way we may die, but we're also at the point of dying, our biggest fear is our regrets about what we have done, but also what we have not done. So looking deeply into that, taking care of the energy of fear. So the meditation on being aware of I am of the nature to get sick, to get old, to die, is to help circulate the fear, help meet that fear, so that we can actually live our lives more deeply. That is the intention of that meditation, to not run away from the anxiety about it, but meet it with our love, our breath, our mindful breathing, circulate that energy, and then we don't have to think about it too much, but in taking care of that, it leads us to the insight that I want to live my life deeply, and we have less anxiety and more joy again to be able to do that, free from anxiety. What do we want to transmit to our loved ones, to our children? Do we want to transmit that anxiety, being frightened of everything around us? Or do we want to transmit something more beautiful? Non-fear, yes, responsibility, taking care of ourselves, but also non-fear, and showing our courage in this way is also an act of love, something beautiful to transmit. So there's also a question regarding emotions about anger. Anger and how to maintain mindfulness of the body and breath and not go into thoughts. And this, I think I have answered already, the importance of it. At the first sign of your anger, let it be a mindfulness bell. For those of you who have been doing this, the sessions with the sisters, I understand Sister Twainium taught you sitting meditation and listening to the bell, stopping. When you hear a sound of the bell, it is an invitation from the Buddha to come back and be with your breath. Come back to the body, be with what is, and smile to yourself with compassion. Anger, when you see the first sign of it, let it be that bell. Turn it into a mindfulness bell. Oh, my anger. Stop. Come back. Come back to myself. Breathe. Smile. Bring the opposite of anger to your anger. That is to say, love, compassion, and inclusiveness. Suffering can be a great teacher. It can be a great thing in the sense that it can be the very thing that pushes us to practice. When we don't have any suffering, we just coast along. We maybe think, tomorrow, But when we have suffering and we know the practice helps, we do it. I see some smiles. We know this. We've had the experience. So staying present is what I said before, and this is staying present and not getting caught in the story, particularly anger. Anger always has a very big story to go along with it. You sort of want to put it, anger on the outside. So a little bit there on taking care of emotions, big subject. There is a question now about relationships. And how can I be compassionate to people I don't like? What I notice in all of these questions, by the way, I just want to say thank you for the questions again, is there is so much of the answer and the insight in the question. Who would ask, how can I be compassionate to somebody I don't like? Only a practitioner. Only somebody who has the insight that that is an idea, to do that. Most of us would say, how can I punish this person I don't like? How can I avoid this person? How can I show everybody what a horrible person this is? You want to give them a piece of your mind, and at the very least, you would want to avoid them. So to ask, how can I be compassionate? Thank you. Already a beautiful question. And I believe, again, the sessions you've been offered have included meditation on metta meditation, learning how to smile to the one that is hurting you or that maybe you don't like so much. And if you're doing that as a practice, okay, so I think the invitation is, you wish yourself to be well, at peace, safe, happy. You wish for others to be well, safe, peace, happy. You contemplate that wish. You generate that wish. You put that wish out as you practice breathing and meditating. And then you bring into your mind the object. Oh, and here is the person I do not like. I wish them to be happy, to be safe, to be at peace. If they were at peace, maybe you would like them, right? So that actually kind of works, often. But if in trying to generate that sense of well-wishing to that person that you don't like, it touches some pain in you. Maybe that is like a GPS. Here is where I need to take care of myself. This is where the pain is in myself. And that moment when you notice, oof, this isn't so easy to have a nice thought about this person. Go back to yourself and say, yeah, now it's time for self-compassion. I need to take care of what is in me. Because when I tried to send out that love, I got this message, oh, no, there's something to take care of here before you send it out. So then you send love to yourself in that exact place. Okay, I'm here for you. And you breathe and you smile with your love to that place. And then as you do that, you may try again. Now can I send love to this person? And it's like a scientific experiment. You will see what happens. Maybe, okay, now I've got more space to be able to send. For sure, something will have shifted. So that is a genuine practice. It's not just what we would say pasting over with kind of loving thoughts, etc. If you combine it with taking care of yourself, and that is your primary job, because otherwise we could do something called spiritual bypassing, where, oh yes, I love this person, and even they cause me lots of harm, but I see, they had all of these causes and conditions. I mean, it's good to kind of not be angry at them. I think it's good just to not use that to avoid taking care of the suffering, to take care of yourself. Because if you're avoiding that, it's not going to work to just forgive the other person. The true forgiveness is a fruit of understanding the suffering. First of all, your suffering, and being there for your suffering. And knowing that is going to lead you also to have more capacity to understand the other person, and the letting go can happen very naturally. The fruit will drop, ripe, in its time. Yeah. So, another way, I thought when I heard this question about being compassionate to people I don't like, is to, it all depends, it can be very specific, what is it that you don't like? But sometimes we forget that that person, behind the things that they're manifesting, they are also, a good person. They have other good qualities. So using your ability to say, yes, there is this, but can I also see some good qualities in this person? And sometimes asking other people, this is what, in community, it's very good, You ask somebody else, look, I'm having a bit of a difficulty with this brother. I see that you get on with him and you spend time. What are the good qualities you see in him so that it can help me have more light on this brother, more aspects of this person? That can be a helpful, skillful way, to bring space around the person you don't like. You can also look to see the particular thing that they're doing that is causing you suffering, and connect it to, what is really going on for me there? What is it triggering in me that I need to look at? And maybe saying to yourself, maybe I am the one in this karmic coincidence that we are connecting. I am the one that can help this person. Maybe nobody else has been compassionate. Maybe other people, if he's really not likable, and it's not just you, maybe you're the one to be there for that person. And you make a vow to offer him kindness in order to, show some trust in that person, and being aware that maybe this is a chance for them. There is a practice in Plum Village. We bow to each other. I bow to you, a Buddha to be. We always recognize that whatever is manifesting on the surface, there is a Buddha to be in that person. Maybe it's more clear, maybe it's less clear, depending to you, but you know that the Buddha nature is belonging to everybody, and by that Buddha nature we mean this beautiful person, this beautiful human potential is there. It's in all of us, and it's causes and conditions, many causes and conditions that make less beautiful things manifest, right? So we know that we can come back to that, and that there is this ability, this capacity in everyone to wake up and to walk the path of love and understanding, and that is the natural way, and that their path is our path, their happiness is our happiness. So we, aware of that, we bow with reverence to each and everybody. There's in the chapter 20 of the Lotus Sutra, they talk about the never disparaging bodhisattva, never disparaging, always seeing the good in others. And his name is Sada Paributta. I looked him up last night because I was thinking of this. In connection with that came this question about what, when in the world there are leaders that are taking us in bad directions, that seem to be acting from vested interest, they're being hypocritical, they are doing things from greed and maybe ignorance, and they're affecting the society in bad ways, and how to practice acceptance and resistance. And yeah, so resist what came to my mind. Resist the temptation to fall into anger and despair, maybe, is good. Resist the temptation to want to punish or to see them also as completely separate from us. Accepting that that is also part of the nature of how humanity manifests these things. This is an old story as well, that these things happen. And it's tragic. It's tragic and it's hard. And we have to play our part. You know, they say evil flourishes when good people do nothing. So we should do something. But we should do it from the right place, not from, the dualistic point of view. It's difficult, and we can feel very alone sometimes. So we also need to find community and to support us in these endeavors, this right action. This is belonging to the realm of right action. Let's have one sound of the bell. Thank you. Cultivating non-fear is also part of what we need in these circumstances of our times. Yeah. Coming from a place of non-fear. And it's we can better do that when we have each other, actually, to be able to support each other in the practice. But there comes a time also where we have to really go to ourselves and find that place in us. And ultimately the non-fear comes from the insight that we are much more than we think. Yeah? We're not just this body, we're not just this separate self, but we're interconnected with everything, and we belong to the whole of life. And we belong to that tragedy, and we also belong to that miracle. So that can bring us, enable us to touch the non-fear, the cream of the Buddha's teaching. A question, how can I live with people that are not conscious? They're not mindful, they're not awake, and getting irritated. I think I've answered this question with the seeing Buddha nature in people. questions related to work came up. One question was how to live in the present moment while I'm expected to plan and anticipate in the work environment. So this question often comes, the connection between planning and being just in the present. And I think for me, I don't see the problem. It seems quite clear. If you want to plan well, then the best place to do that is from being present. So there is really not a problem there, a paradox. The best place to plan for the future, you have a right to plan for the future, right? But you do it from the present. It means you are stable, you are mindful, and you're also aware of impermanence and the fact that you cannot control what happens in the future, but you can plan anyway. But you also know that you may be letting go of that plan, given the way things unfold. So planning, getting lost in the future and thinking that's where my happiness lies, that's a problem, because that future might not come that you are hoping for. So better to be very aware of the importance of being happy here and now. And that relates somewhat to another question. I am a freelancing artist and writer. My line of work comes with uncertainty and menial pay, very low pay. Sometimes it feels as if I have done so much for so little. How can I cultivate more stability in myself when I am engaged in such precarious work? And then there is another question which relates, in the past 6 years I've been working on a very difficult task, building a machine for people to be used in the next 10 years. How can I summarize this? So he was promised things once he'd done all of this hard work, but then the manager, once the job was done, withdrew the funding, and he's become cynical and upset about that. So these two questions relating to work. One common aspect is this feeling of not being valued. And I think in light of the practice of being of right livelihood, we need to find the joy and the meaning right in the present moment. If we make the result our end, we cannot be sure what happens. So we have to find that the means by which we get to somewhere is the ends. The ends and the means are the same. So the way in which we do, the how we do things, is already bringing us the satisfaction and the joy and the feeling of meaning. And then we are safer. We're a safer place, right? And it's not dependent on the result, on the praise, or even the money coming in. But we find value in what we do, even without that reward. If we find the value in what we're doing right in the present moment, we're already rich. The money that we can get is, of course, we need to be able to live, and we don't want to struggle so much. But in the end, if we're also contemplating that we're impermanent and we die, what we truly have when we die, we cannot take money with us. So maybe that is a good contemplation. Since we cannot take the money, what do we take? And again, the 5 contemplations are where I am going to get sick, I am going to get old, I am going to die, and there is the next contemplation is, I'm aware that the only thing that continues, that how I continue is my actions. My actions are my continuation. So in right livelihood, we have to find a way, whatever we find ourselves doing, being an engineer, being an artist, being a writer, it can be a joy to be in a field where we can express our creativity, and one of the greatest happinesses that the Buddha said in the sutra on happiness is to be able to be skillful and have a craft, to be able to do something well. So we're grateful if we get a chance to do that, and we find value and joy in doing that, expressing ourselves. It's a big need in us. There's a question here. It is hard for me to find my place in the world regarding work. What do I want to do? What will make me happy? And there is this need in us to contribute to life, to offer something, to serve in some way. It's a need. It's a strong basic desire in all of us. We want at the end of our life to be able to say, yeah, I offered something. It doesn't have to be a book or I built this. What the basic question we ask at the point of death is, did I love well? Did I really live fully? So living fully each moment. Yeah. Death comes unexpectedly. How can we bargain with it? Is in the sutra. And so knowing that, we want to live fully, mindfully, and then whatever we are doing, that we know we did it, we lived it, and we did our best. And that will again give us this feeling of, okay, circumstances went like this. It was hard for me, but I did my best, and I met the situation fully with an open heart. And that can bring us solace to know that we have done like that. Yeah, much more than achieving something and then realizing that we didn't enjoy the journey. There's another thing I remember saying on a business retreat. I think it comes from a guy called Joseph Campbell. Like, you can spend your whole life climbing. You climb to the top of the ladder, like in a career, like they call it a career ladder, and you get to the top, and you realize it was the wrong ladder. So you don't want to be in that situation. But whatever ladder you're climbing on, just be aware. Okay, I'm climbing this ladder. Is this the ladder I want to climb? But at least bring mindfulness in to what you're doing. So having this question about wanting to find your place and where you can contribute is a good question, because it shows that you're in touch with that desire to find a way to contribute beautifully to helping. It's not a desire to make money or to put a future goal. So I already feel again, the answer is somewhat in the question. Hold that aspiration to find your way, your particular unique way to contribute. And the practice will help you with that and help you not lose your life before this manifests for you, but actually will be the foundation for your way to contribute. Not becoming bitter by other people betraying us. If we do, we know that we are the ones that suffer. So this came in the question about when he'd worked for so long and then he was betrayed by the manager. And he also has the aspiration, like, how can I don't want to carry these feelings into the next stage of my life, the feeling of feeling confused, angry, and cynical, feeling that people are selfish and manipulative. And he's in the question, he says, I don't want to continue that into my next stage. So he's aware that that has arisen in him. I think it's a him. And I don't know. So sometimes in his or her meditation, he feels better knowing he's done the best, she's done the best she could. But the frustration comes, and that's very natural. Those painful feelings arise. I think, this is where we have to touch something deeper than this story that happened to us. It's an invitation, this suffering, to touch something deeper about the meaning of our life. So let it be the thing that makes you go deep. You're doing well with, very clearly in the question, you're practicing. And you're trying to see the roots of your suffering. So continue like that and trust. And the answer will not come through the cynical, bitter thoughts and how to punish. It'll come through, touching something much deeper. And then the capacity to let go of that story will be there. The letting go will become, because you'll be letting go into something bigger than that story. And even at some point you may see the managers to behave like that. He is also a product of a kind of cynical society, and he suffers too. And you may even find in that bigger place that you find compassion for that. That kind of, as I mentioned before, this sort of tragedy of humanity, that we allow those kinds of, the way our society gets structured, fosters and rewards things that cause us suffering, and of course the person that thinks that they may be gaining and is chasing up that ladder, causing lots of suffering, but they're also suffering, and that is a tragedy for them too. They're climbing the wrong ladders. Well, their ladders become part of our story too, but we have to do our part. And when we're a place of true insight, we are able to stay stable and walk the path together, supporting each other. So coming together on this retreat, even online. You benefit so much from the collective energy of practice, doing together and sharing each other's suffering, like in these questions, but also in your Dharma sharing. You can take the questions, because there's many that I have not answered, into your Dharma sharing this afternoon. And for us also, that's the way we do. It's a continued exploring, and it's so. In Buddhism, we have so many key insights, like the insight of impermanence, of non-self, the insight of emptiness, and, no separate self, interbeing, and these help us so much. But it's actually our suffering that gives them the substance, where we actually then make that insight come to life and bring us growth and compassion. We grow our compassion from that. So we don't need to run away from our suffering, but we cultivate these qualities and these insights together. So thank you for your questions. Thank you for your presence and practice.